Hank Williams is one of the most, if not the most, recognized names in country music history. Born Hiram King Williams on September 17, 1923, in a tiny settlement called Mount Olive, Alabama, Hank was born with a spine condition called spina bifida occulta, which was the reason he abused alcohol and drugs later in his life. As a young boy, Hank felt left out and lonely because he couldn't work regular jobs like farming or logging because of his spinal issues. Hank's father was hospitalized with a brain aneurysm during his childhood, so he was raised mostly by his mother. The Williams family moved from town to town, and eventually it would end up in the area of Greenville and Georgiana, Alabama, where Hank's mother bought him his first guitar for $3.50, which would be about $70 in today's money. It was a second-hand acoustic Gibson guitar, which he learned to play by the teachings of a local musician by the name of Rufus T. Tot Payne. He taught young Hank how to improvise chords in the form of playing blues, which helped Williams put together a unique style in the 1930s, which no one popular at the time was playing. Hank fused hillbilly, folk, and blues together in his songs, which made him popular amongst both white and black audiences. In 1937, the Williams family moved to Montgomery, Alabama, where Hank participated in a talent show at the Empire Theater. He sang one original song he had at the time entitled WPA Blues and won the first prize money of $15, which equates to around $300 nowadays. Hank started the band the Drifting Cowboys, but in 1941, the other band members were drafted into the World War II, while Hank was disqualified from being drafted because of his back issues. Hank would replace the members, but slowly but surely, every member would leave the group because of Hank's addiction to alcohol. Hank even got fired from working with local radio stations, one of them being WFSA, for habitual drunkenness. In 1942, Hank moved to Mobile, Alabama, and a year later he met Audrey Shepard, who wanted Hank to move back to Montgomery to start another band so she could get him another radio show. The two became a couple and would eventually get married at a Texaco gas station in Andalusia, Alabama. In 1945, Hank and Audrey were living in Montgomery, and they started to work with WFSA radio again. Around this time is when Hank really started getting noticed for his songs. Audrey became his manager and would fill in on guitar and singing when the other band members couldn't make it to their gigs. In September of 1946, Hank tried out for the legendary Grand Ole Opry after a recommendation by the Texas troubadour Ernest Tubb. Hank was rejected by the Grand Ole Opry that year, but would soon after sign a 6-song deal with Sterling Records. The songs released by Sterling were so successful that Hank signed a record deal with MGM Records in 1947. He released the song Move It On Over, which became his first big country hit. A couple of years later, in 1949, he recorded his version of the song Lovesick Blues, which held the #1 spot on the Billboard charts for 4 months straight. This led to him getting booked at the Grand Ole Opry for the first time on June 11, 1949. Also that same year, Hank would join the European Opry Tour and played shows in Germany and Austria. In 1950, Hank was playing concerts for $1,000, which would be around $13,000 today. That year, he also began recording songs under the alias Luke the Drifter. In May of 1951, Hank was admitted to the North Louisiana Sanitarium for about a week because of his alcoholism and his back issues. He also released his first full-length album that year, entitled Hank Williams Sings, through MGM Records on November 9th. The album featured songs like Lost Highway, I Saw the Light, and 6 More Miles. Just 5 days later, Hank would appear on television for the first time as part of the Perry Como Show, where he sang the song Hey Good Lookin'. Not long after this, Hank took a terrible fall and aggravated his spinal issues further. In December of 1951, he would have a spinal fusion surgery, and against medical advice, he left the hospital earlier than doctors wanted him to. Soon after, he started wearing a back brace for a while and would start taking painkillers for all of the back pain he was having. In 1952, Hank recorded 7 more hits, including Jambalaya, Setting the Woods on Fire, and I'll Never Get Out of This World Alive. Also around this time, Audrey would divorce Hank, and the following day he would record You Win Again and I Won't Be Home No More. In the later half of 1952, Hank Williams was beginning to be too drunk to play, which would cause him to start missing several shows. Subsequently, he was dismissed from the Grand Ole Opry. He continued playing for radio shows, and his last recording session would be on September 23, 1952. This session produced the songs Kalijah, Take These Chains From My Heart, and Your Cheatin' Heart. His last big concert he ever played was in Austin, Texas at the Skyline Club in December 19th, and his final performance was on December 21st in Montgomery, Alabama at a small benefit show for a radio announcer who had polio. I recently got to visit Montgomery, and the building where he had his last performance in is still there to this day. I'm just going to show y'all where Hank's last performance was. It wasn't like a full concert. It was more kind of like just a small performance, really, I guess you could say. He didn't play like a full set or anything. But let me pull this out a little bit. Would have been right here, actually. This is the spot. So. By the end of 1952, Hank began to have heart problems on top of his back issues. He started to see a sketchy doctor by the name of Toby Marshall, who went by the alias C.W. Lemon. He was not an actual doctor, but was a former prisoner and a con artist who tricked people into thinking he was a doctor. He prescribed Hank amphetamines, morphine, and different kinds of sedatives, and also sleeping pills. This mixture of drugs, paired with Hank's hard drinking, would soon lead to his death at the young age of 29 on January 1st, 1953. This is the last known photo taken of Hank Williams after the small performance at the Elite Cafe. He passed away in his blue Cadillac on the way to a show in West Virginia. His funeral took place on January 4th at the Montgomery Auditorium and was attended by over 20,000 people. So now we're like in downtown Montgomery. This is like where, this is the city hall where Hank Williams' funeral took place. So pretty cool to be here and see this right now. Pull up a picture. Oh, you can kind of see the angles of it, but yeah, it was held right here. It's one of the largest funerals out here. So, which I would imagine. So, pretty cool to be here. Hank was buried at the Oakwood Annex Cemetery. He and Audrey have a big, beautiful plot together at the top of the hill. I had been wanting to visit this place for years, and it was so surreal finally being there. It was an overcast morning, but luckily it didn't rain and it wasn't windy. It was calm, quiet, and you could hear the birds chirping all around. And it's absolutely insane that I'm actually here, man. I've seen pictures and stuff and videos, but it's actually really, really surreal that I'm just here right now. It's crazy. One of the all-time greats, Mr. Hiram Williams, and his wife, Aubrey. Oh, man. It's crazy, man. Look. They have a whole nice little section to ourselves. It's pretty nice to have the Luke the Drifter hat right there. That's pretty cool. And I guess the songs that were the hits there. This beautiful vase there. And this is Audrey's. I'll leave some guitar picks here. Oh, man, this is crazy. Probably leave one here for Hank. Alrighty, man. Rest in peace, Hank. And leave one here for Luke the Drifter right here. I decided I'd play a few Hank songs while I was there, as I may never get the opportunity to be at his grave ever again. 6 more miles and I leave my darling. He's the best friend I ever had. The Hank Williams Museum is just a mile away from the cemetery, so I decided to visit that as well. It was founded by Cecil Jackson on February 8th, 1999. As part of their rules, they don't let anyone take any videos or pictures while walking through the museum, but I got to see a lot of things that Hank would wear on stage, some of his and Audrey's furniture, his first acoustic guitar he ever owned, and of course his blue Cadillac that he passed away in, which is the only thing they'll let you get a picture of. Thanks for watching this video on the great Hank Williams, and I just want to say, long live Hiram, and his legacy will continue to live on forever. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel, and like always, y'all take care, and I'll see you at the next grave.